Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. I hope wherever you are in the world, today has been treating you well. In today's video, I am going to be showing you 3 looks. We're going to be zooming in. I'm going to be deep diving into 3 different looks with the new Botanical palette from Beauty Bay. I want to inspire you, whether you have this palette or not. I want to inspire you in 3 different ways. I want to try and use a load of different shades. So that's what we're going to be doing. This is look number 1. I have just finished this one. Then this is look number 2, the second look that we are going to be deep diving into today. And then finally look number 3. So as you can see, 3 completely different looks, 3 completely different vibes. I do also have a complete first impression video swatching, creating a look with this palette, and I also have an eyeshadow palette bingo, which I posted last week. So there's already loads of content around this palette if you're wanting some more inspiration. But here is 3 more looks. We're going to get into it, starting with look number 1. Okay, so I'm just tapping out my Beauty Bay eye primer, and I already have the rest of my face on, which I don't usually do, but I thought let's change it up a little bit. Let's do the rest of my face and then do the eyes last. So I think for the first look, I think I want to use more of the like orangier tones. I've got an orangey corally blush on, and I think I want to like tie that in a little bit. I also definitely want to use this shade, which is Canyon, because it's beautiful, and I think that that will match the blush really nicely. Maybe deepen up a little bit with the purples. I'm not really sure. We're just going to make this whole thing up as we go along. I hope that that is okay. So I'm starting with quite a small fluffy brush, and I'm going, I don't know why I just put this down, to pick it back up again. I'm going to go in with, let's start with Tundra. I feel like this is going to be one of my most used shades because it is just the perfect transition tone for so many different looks. So I'm just going to sort of look straight forward into my mirror, which is over in this direction, and wiggle this into the crease. I do feel like for so many people this is going to be the perfect transition tone, because although obviously you've got like that whole midsection of the like brownie tones, this one really is for like fair to light skin tones. This really is one of the only ones that you could use as like a transition. I love it though. I think that that tone really brings out the colour of my eyes. I really enjoy it. So I'm going to take a much bigger fluffy brush, and I'm going to go in with Lily, this lightest white shade on the bottom row. This is going to be an arm workout, filming 3 looks, picking the palette up every single time, and I'm just going to use that lighter shade just to buff over the top edge, just to keep it really nice and bright under the brow bone. A little something like that, nothing crazy, but it just helps the blend, you know. So I'm going to take more of a tapered brush, and I think I possibly want to use, see, I know I want to use this one all across the lid. So do I go in with like clay to make this a little bit more red, or do I go in with oak to make it a bit more brown? Everything's falling on my table. I think I'm going to go in with clay because I also want to use sea moss. That's a really beautiful shade as well. So just taking the more tapered brush into clay, and I'm taking that colour right on the tip of that brush, and I'm going to keep that more in the crease to deepen it up a little bit and to bring more of that reddy tone through. I am also running this sort of halfway along the lower lash line. I did take that first shade along the lower lash line, and I'm going to sort of try and keep this quite rounded. That's the benefit of doing the rest of your face first, you can really blend everything out. So it is a slightly different process whether you do your eyes first or your face. And I feel like this is the benefit of doing the face first. You can really sort of blend everything out and create the shape that you ultimately want at the end whilst you're doing the eyeshadow, you know? So I have also just taken that clay shade and I'm like packing that onto the outer corner, and I think I'm going to use this as my deepest shade today because I think that that deepness of that red tone, then with sea moss next to it and that shimmer across the lid, I think that that's going to be deep enough for me. I'm obviously going to be doing a wing. I'm thinking maybe brown. I'm getting ahead of myself. Who is surprised? But I'm going to take a different brush. But anyway, I'm going to go in with sea moss, sort of to blend this clay shade in a little bit, and then Canyon on like the inner part of the lid. But first, I must find the brush. So I'm actually just taking like a really light dusting of that sea moss shade because it's quite bright. I feel like that could very, very easily overpower everything else. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful shade. It's one that I loved from the original palette, actually. Just like all over the lid. Wing. Easy. But because it's very bright, it can be overpowering. So just using a fluffy brush to dust a little bit of that in between clay and like the bare skin here, tapping that over, dusting it over the crease a little bit just to sort of add that little bit of warmth. And then I'm just going to take my finger into that Canyon shade, which is beautiful and reflective, and I'm just going to tap this on the inner part of the lid and sort of tap it as I'm getting less on my finger there. Tap over those other shades just to blend it out. But this shade is incredible. It's so pretty. It's a sort of like a duochrome-y sort of a shift, which Beauty Bay have been doing a little bit more in their palettes over the last couple of years, and the more they do them, the better they get at them. And this one is beautiful. So just tapping that all the way out. I can't get right onto the inner corner because my nails are quite long, but if I just take a little pencil brush, pick up a little bit more of that and just get right on into the inner corner. So I'm quite happy with how that's looking, but I do just want something a little bit brighter right on the inner corner. And I'm actually deciding, do I want to do Savannah and stick with this like warm peachy pinky vibe, or do I want to do Matcha and bring in a little bit of that green? I think I'm going to do Matcha. Obviously, I love that shade as an inner corner because it's so bright and like neon matcha green, and I think it'll tie in with my dress nicely, you know? Why not? So I've got that on quite a dense brush. I'm going to tap that off because I do not need green powder all over my face. I'm going to just tap this right onto the inner corner. Nobody's mad at that, are they? That green inner corner, so this is obviously with and without. I know it's not for everyone, but I love a matte pastel colourful inner corner. I just think it's a really fun way to add a little pop of colour in a different sort of way than just, you know, I feel like a lot of people would feel comfortable with maybe a colourful wing, or I don't know, maybe even just like a little pop of something on the lid. But I feel like on the inner corner, it's just so beautiful to me. So I'm just tapping in really lightly so that I don't get all of that fallout, and layering this colour up, and I am so happy with how that's looking. I just need a little bit more. There we go. I am so happy with how that's looking. So I'm going to go ahead and do a wing and mascara, and I will be right back. Okay, so just finishing up the mascara, I decided to go full on brown mascara and brown liner. So this is the PS Pro Extreme Lash Mascara from Primark. I love that one. And the liner is the Made by Mitchell Make a Mark like glittery liner, and this is in Havana. Beautiful, beautiful warm brown. So this is look number 1. A tiny little pop of green, but it's more so like a peachy, orangey, warm brown, very soft sort of a look. I love this with the blush, I will say, the blush, because I feel like this whole look is so cohesive. You may be wondering, it's the Made by Mitchell Blush Pod in Peach Cobbler. Beautiful. So that is everything. That is look number 1. I would love to hear what you think, but let's go ahead and get on into look number 2. Okay, look number 2 with the Botanical palette, and I think today I want to do something more grey. I'm not really, again, but I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I do want to use the Waterfall shade, this like bluey, duochromy colour on the bottom row. I definitely want to use that one, but I'm thinking something more cool toned, using some of these greys, maybe some of these. I don't really know. I don't know what I'm doing. That is what I'm thinking though. Maybe Waterfall and then that lightning, like right on the inner corner. I don't know. But I have got my Beauty Bay eye primer on. Again, still sad. Still sad. I am open to suggestions for eyeshadow primers, is what I'm saying. So I'm going to start with a fluffy brush. I did do all of my brushes with IsoClean this morning, so I've got a load of brushes. For once, I actually have some clean brushes. But I'm going to start with a fluffy one, and I'm going to go into, I think I'm going to start with Mushroom, this matte shade on the bottom row, through the crease. And again, I don't know what my plan is. I'm thinking maybe something quite dark and quite smoky, and then with that Waterfall shade. My whole thing with this video is that I don't want to do a green look. I want to show you the other options that you can do with this palette that isn't using the greens, because it's like 50% green, but also it's 50% other things. So I want to show you the options that aren't using the greens, because I feel like that's the obvious answer, you know? That is where I find a lot of my like looks coming from, and my inspiration and the colours that I am leaning towards in this palette. But there's so many beautiful, beautiful colours in this palette that aren't green. You can do looks that aren't just green eyeshadow looks, you know? So I'm just wiggling this through the crease and on the outer corner. And let's just make this all up as we go along. As always, that is always what I do. But I genuinely have absolutely no idea what I want to do today. So come along for the ride. It's sure to be fun. It's sure to be chaotic. I hope that you have got yourself a big mug of tea. Mine's nearly empty already. I need another mug of tea. So I'm happy with how that Mushroom shade is looking. So it's darker on the outer corner still, like I've built it up more there, but I have brought that basically all the way through the crease. Then I'm going to take more of a sort of flat pencil brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Spruce, which is green, but it's more of that like bluey toned green. So I'm going to like pack this, got that on one side of that brush, I'm going to pack this on the lid on sort of the outer half to third. This is going to be the darkest shade, so I'm deepening up with this one, then I will blend it in to that mushroom shade. So I'm happy with how dark and smoky that is looking. And yes, I've used a green. I know I literally just said that. I know, I just said that. But it's not going to be an overly green look is the point that I'm trying to make. Do you believe me? I love green. Okay, I love green. So I'm just going to take my finger and go into that waterfall shade. Let me just swatch this on the back of my hand so that I can show you how incredible this colour is. It's like lilac and blue, but also like gold. It's so pigmented and reflective and so shifty. It's incredible. So I'm just going to take this on my finger, tap this across where that eye primer is still tacky on the lid, and you will see. It's such a beautiful shade. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And this is one that was in the original palette, and they actually kept it the same. If you saw the short that I posted, which will be like over a week ago now, because it's taken me so long to get all of these clips filmed for this 3 looks video. Yeah, if you saw that where I was comparing the original Botanical, the limited edition one, against this new 42 pan, if you saw that video, you will see some of those shades are not the same. Some of them are not even close. Some of them are exactly the same. Thankfully, Waterfall is exactly the same. So I'm just going to go back in with that first brush that I was using for mushroom and just very, very lightly over this top edge, buff this out. I want to add, ooh, a hair to my eyelashes, and I want to add that lightning shade right onto the inner corner, I think, to like brighten this up, you know. So let's take more of a dense brush and I'm going to dip into lightning, this shade here, which is beautiful and bright but still quite bluey toned. So getting that on that dense brush, and I'm going to pack that on the inner corner. I will probably have to add more when I have done, like I'm going to clean up under here and everything, but that colour is beautiful and bright. Whereas I feel like Waterfall is more smooth and reflective, it's more like a metallic-y sort of finish. You can see the chunks of glitter in Lightning and it is beautiful. So I'm just packing that right onto the inner corner, and then when I've got less on my brush, I will like swoop. I love doing this sort of movement with the brush to like add that brightness sort of above the crease, you know? So I'm just going to add a little bit more of that spruce shade onto the outer corner to keep that really nice and deep right out there. So we're going smoky today, obviously, is the vibe. That is absolutely fine by me. Okay, so that is where I am leaving the lid. I'm going to clean this up, I'm going to do the rest of my face, and I will be right back. But you will have already seen this look because I'm testing something else on the rest of my face. It's like video inception. I am doing 7 videos at once today. Okay, so the rest of the face is on. If you saw this foundation application, It was posted a couple of days ago, maybe last week. I don't know where I am. But let's finish up under the eyes. I'm going to take that same spruce shade right on the outer corner of the lower lash line. I don't even know which way is up after that foundation application. I am struggling. Oh, it was a whole thing. It was words. Yeah. No. Did not enjoy. So just really lightly running this over the outer corner, joining it up with that colour that we've got on the lid, focusing on the task in hand. I can't think straight. So I've just like rounded that back out a little bit on the outer corner. I also added a wing. Of course, it was the 17... It's on my table somewhere. This one. The 17 Ink Legend Tattoo Eyeliner, the black one. And the mascara is the MUA Amplify Statement Lash Volume Mascara. And that is you all caught up on what's on the eyes. Deep breath. It's all okay. I'm not being physically threatened. I just feel like I am. So I'm just adding a little bit more of that lightning shade, minus the cat hair, from the brush back onto the inner corner. So obviously I had to like clean it up a little bit, add concealer, etc. So I just want to really make that inner corner pop. Like so. So let me just add a little bit more mascara onto the lower lashes and then we are done. I'm gonna go and get myself another cup of tea because lordy lord, I do need one. I don't know why this eyelash just refuses. Flat out refuses to be friends with its friends on the top lash line. It just wants to be down there with the lower lashes and I'm like, but you're growing up out the top of my eyeballs. Please cooperate. It is not so. That is look number 2. Look number 2 finished. I think for number 3 I want to do something more purpley. I'm not sure. I don't know at this stage, but that is a problem for another day for me, but you will see that in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so look number 3. I'm just clipping my hair back. It has actually been 3 weeks since I started this video. It has taken me forever to get all of these clips together, but we are here. We are here today and we are finishing 3 looks with the Botanical palette. And all I know is that I want to do something a little bit more purpley today. I have sort of preemptively put a little bit of tape on the side of my face. I don't know if I'm going to stick with that shape. I don't know what my plan is. As always, I have no plan. So I think I want to do something more purple based, but also I really don't know. If anybody's got any ideas, I would absolutely love to hear them. But I'm thinking eggplant, outer corner, smoke it out, maybe do something quite sharp on the outer corner. And then, yeah, I don't know what shimmer, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know. So I already have my eye primer on. It is, of course, the Beauty Bay one. And I'm going to start with a small brush, something like this, and I think I'm just going to dip straight into that eggplant shade because that's the only shade that I know that I definitely want to use today. So dipping in with that small brush and let's just go straight in. No plan, not at all, just tapping this right over the outer corner and also onto this tape, which is not sticking even a little bit. If only I knew what I was doing. Honestly, if I knew which way was up, I would be dangerous. That would be so, so dangerous. So I'm just going to build this up on the outer corner and also as like the wing sort of a shape. So just all with that same brush, I've really packed that on like along the lash line and where the tape is, and then blended it out ever so lightly, but all just with that same quite small brush to keep it still quite precise. And I'm going to go in with a fluffier, bigger, slightly bigger brush, and I'm going to go into Dune, this slightly more pink toned, neutrally like transition tone. Gonna go in with that one, and then I'm thinking maybe like green across the lid. I'm drawn to this peppermint shade, and I'm thinking maybe an all matte look, but also I might throw a bit of pistachio on there because I really like that shimmer as well. But let's just start fluffy brush into Dune, because this, for more of a pink transition-y crease sort of a colour, I think is going to be perfect. So I'm just wiggling that along in the crease. I don't know what, like my eyelids are so dry today. I don't know why. I'm trying to think if I remembered to use eye cream last night, but they are so dry and flaky, even the eye primer doesn't seem to be helping me. I'm falling apart at the seams if you can't tell. So let's just skip over that one, wiggling this Dune shade through the crease, also buffing ever so lightly sort of over the top of Eggplant, that darker purple, but building this up a little bit through the crease. Then I'll go back in with that burst brush and just make sure that this is as intense as I want it, right on that lash line and outer corner. And I'm quite happy with how that's looking. So I want to take more of a what sort of a brush? More of a dense brush, so that I can really pack that peppermint shade across the lid. As always, there are cat hairs attached to literally everything in this house, so I'm going to just pack this basically across the whole lid. I love that colour, that is so bright. I love purples and greens together. My dress is purple and green. We're going for the whole vibe, you know. So tapping this on, and then I'll just use the other side of the brush and tap it out a little bit, but I will go back in with those other brushes with Eggplant and Dune to like blend this out a little bit, but I want it to still be quite intense across the lid, you know. I love purple and green together. It just brings me a lot of joy, this colour story, like specifically green with oranges. So like we've got that with the middle section, and green with purples. This palette. I'm really enjoying it. I would actually love to hear, whilst I'm blending this out, I would love to hear, if you have this palette, what colours you're using together, what looks you're coming up with, what is your vibe? Do you do like this with contrasting colours? Do you do perhaps like how the other two looks were, where they were a little bit more, I don't want to say monotone because that makes it sound bad, but like where you just have the oranges, or you just have like the more bluey tones? What do you generally go for? Because I definitely love these like two-tone, you know, purple and green, putting the two colours together. That brings me a lot of joy. But I would love to know what looks you're coming up with, what colours you're putting together. Everything like that, I would love to hear how you are using this palette, or if you don't have this palette and you have something similar that you think I could create a look. If you've got any ideas, let me know. I am always open to ideas. I never have any sort of clue what I'm meant to be doing. So if you know, please let me know. Please. I feel like I am so happy with how this is looking, but also I'm just feeling like I want a shimmer, you know? I love the Beauty Bay, I mean I love the Beauty Bay formula, all of it, the mattes, the shimmers, everything, but the shimmers, honestly that pistachio shade is just talking to me. Do I want to just take, see now I feel like that's not necessarily the tone, but also I do still want something quite bright. That's pistachio. But I feel like a load of the other greens aren't necessarily as green as I would maybe want them to be. Do I just tap a little bit of this? I'm asking like as I'm doing it, just tapping a really little bit of this over. Using it more like a topper rather than trying to get that full opaque shimmer, you know? I feel like that's added a little bit of like a goldeny, a little something, like it's brightened it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that, which is good because I've done it now. So let me take this tape off. Oh, I've taped a load of hair down to my face. This is going to be fun. I feel like this is such a fun part to watch if I can actually find, yes. Now what do I want to do? Now what? Now what? I feel like I want a bit more of that dark purple. I always try and judge it at this stage, but truly, like you need to see it with the rest of your face on, you know. You can't judge an eyeshadow look when you haven't got foundation and blush and like everything else on, but I am loving these colours. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my face. I don't think I'm going to add a wing, but I'm thinking let's do the rest of the face. But what I'm thinking is maybe this peppermint shade under the eye and then more of that pistachio on the inner corner is what I'm thinking. But let me go ahead, do the rest of my face, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm just neatening up the blend on the outer corner there, but the rest of the face is done. We've gone very glowy. I'm here for it. So I'm going to go back in with that brush that I was using for peppermint, and I'm just going to take some right on the very, very tip of that brush, and I'm going to blend this basically all the way along the lower lash line. And I'll maybe put a bit of that purple along the lower lash line as well, but mostly I feel like that green shade under there. Yeah. I don't feel like I want any of that purple under the eye actually. I feel like there's enough of it on the outer corner, you know? So just running this all the way along. A little something like that, nice and smoky, along the lower lash line. Then I'm taking a small brush again and I'm going to dip really lightly into that pistachio shimmer, and I'm going to pack that right onto the inner corner. That was the right decision. I love this pistachio shade as a nice bright, blinding, but still green inner corner. Yeah, I love that shade. And I'm also just dragging that up through like the inner part of the crease just to brighten up and add that beautiful shimmer right through there. And then I think just a little bit more mascara on the lower lashes. And I think I'm done. I am so proud of myself for not doing a wing. Like, we've got dramatic, we've got sharp, we've still got lifted, we've got that beautiful purple colour, and I haven't done a wing. Like a liquid liner wing. I mean, obviously this is a wing. Obviously this is a wing shaped, but no liquid liner. I'm proud of myself. I do a liquid liner every single day. I don't feel like myself without a liquid liner on, but I feel like this is a good compromise because I've still got that shape. And it's green and purple, which I love. So I'm just adding a little bit more blush, as always. When I get like the depth of the darkness from the mascara, I always feel like I need more blush. So just adding a little bit more colour onto the cheeks and we are done. So that is look number 3. Let me sort my hair out. I think I've finally got the hang of like curling, putting a little bendy curl through these front pieces. It's taken some time. I think I'm finally learning how to style my hair, but this is look number 3 with the Botanical palette. This dress, I always put it on because I think it looks cute and then it falls down and it does my head in, but there we go. Look number 3 with purples and greens. Who is surprised? I was so sure that I wasn't going to do like a very green look, but I love this. I love this. I think that this is my favourite one from this video. I think that out of the 3, this is my favourite look. I would love to hear which is your favourite though. So there we go. 3 looks with the Beauty Bay Botanical palette. 3 very different vibes. We went peachy, we went almost like bluey, silvery, and then this, which I suppose is almost, is it the Joker that's like green and purple? Is this the Joker vibes? I love it though. I love that pop of colour. So I would love to hear what you think down below. If you have this palette, please let me know what looks you have been loving with it, because I am all about the inspiration. Give me all of the inspo. I want to know what you're doing. But that is it for today. That is the 3 looks done. So if you want to see more from me, you can subscribe down below. I post 3 times a week, on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday. It's always affordable and it's always cruelty free. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and if you haven't enjoyed it, feel free to give it a thumbs down if you think I've been rambling, because I have. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.